It almost seems like the very nature of the question, is there something here, is not the question to be asking, because it's not driven internally. They're looking for external reward.
Yeah. And that's where, like, you have to look at, what is the desire? Is the desire the big house and the parties and everything that you think is the glamorous part of the job? Or is the desire that you are sending your message to the world and making an impact in a positive way? And I think writers have to move into that emotionally. I think a lot of times they're on the outside and they're not ready for the internal desire to really kick in. And I think when life humbles you, then the internal desire awakens and it becomes more clear. And then your writing improves. Like, I have seen writers who have been knocked down again and again, and suddenly it's a certain point that just turns their world and really helps them own what they're sending out to the world. And I think that's the greatest thing in the world when you see that happen. And again, that's the life process happening mixed with the professional process.
So finding meaning in the work, rather than the accolades and the perception, which could eventually lead to a lot of probably isolation and loneliness in some sense, because you have all that, but if it doesn't mean anything.
And that's the key to everything. I mean, the key to everything is, when I look at, if the motivation is to leave a legacy, and the legacy is to empower the next generation in a strong way through communicating your ups and downs and your lessons that you've learned through this life process, then the chances of, when you're hitting it big and everything's there, being fulfilling are much greater. So I've seen both happen. I've definitely seen the executive producer who thinks that, like, I'm going to say many executive producers have been married 3 times, married and divorced, and like, that is because they're putting so much energy into the job and not enough into life. And I remember one executive producer who I asked this specific question, who had all that I talked about as far as the overall deal, the hit show, the new marriage, life was working. And I asked the question, are you happy? And the answer was, happiness is such a loaded question. And it was so clear to me that the outcome didn't match the expectation. And so there was more work to be done. And I think there's a value in that, like if you use that in your writing. And I think that that happens a lot. I think that there are writers who hit these massive pinnacles and find that that isn't happiness. And that's why I think the internal work is such an important part of the external outcome.
I've heard the same in music and sports and
everything.
Right.
Everything in life. What is your purpose? What is your calling? Are you in alignment with your internal desire and the external outcome? Or are you limited?
Do you think it comes down to how much personal freedom they feel? Whether it's in their creativity? Because if someone at that level has probably lost a lot of personal freedom in terms of their schedule, in being able to go out, if someone knows what they look like.
And also in the writer's journey, you have to recognize a majority of writers are not writing on the show that they want to be writing on. You know, a majority of writers are taking jobs that they need to take to pay the bills. And that's just what it is. But the gift of that is that's moving you forward to when you can write the show that you create and produce. So that is the show that you want to be writing on. You know, so I think it's keeping the end goal in mind and always using that to motivate your path.
Right. And I use this expression a lot in our videos, but you know, knowing what you don't want is sometimes more than half the battle.
Yes. And it's information. Like, that's what I always say, like getting fired, going back to that. What that tells us is it gives us information. Okay, I was going down a path and I thought the actions I was taking were the right actions, but something shifted or changed. So now I have to redefine a new path and really think about the internal desire versus the external outcome. Do they align? And am I taking the right actions to hit the outcome I want?